Hello roommates, it's Jelana coming at you live from the Blue Room, and today we are going to be designing some Valentine's Day / Galentine's Day postcards in Cricut Design Space. I'd like to start off by letting you know I am a Cricut Access member, so some of the patterns that you see you may not have access to. However, the elements that we will be using to design our postcards today should be available to all Cricut Design Space members. So let's jump right in. First thing you'll notice is that we've got some backgrounds here. I also will be using a custom font. You can check the link in my description box below to download and access that. But because these are exclusive Blue Room free fonts or not fonts, patterns and backgrounds, I am going to be using the Cricut Design Space options. So I'm going to go over here, click on images, and then I want to type Valentine's pattern. And then it should give you lots of different options. I already have some phrases in mind that I want to use. One of them being, I checked you out and fell for you. So I want the background to be similar to a checkerboard. I have some specific ones that I'd like to use, but I'm not seeing it right now. So I'm just going to do a little scroll till I find what I'm looking for. We're going for that checkerboard look. It's nice and pink. I think we're getting close. See all these options of pattern paper? There it is. I knew I saved it. Okay, so this is the first one we're going to need. And then I'm also going to be using another phrase that says, hoping your day is wienerful. Haha, because puns always win. So now I'm going to look for the same pattern, but I want it to have dogs on it. So let's see what it gives me. It's giving me less patterns, more dogs. So let's call it adoption. See if that comes up. There it is. This is the one I want. Okay, so I've got my backgrounds, and now we just need to get into building our postcard. I'm going to be sending 4x6 size postcards, so that means I can change these patterns to 2" by 2" and just build the postcard using the patterns. So we've got our first 2 inches. I'm going to duplicate. That gives me 4 inches wide, but I would like to be 6 inches wide. So I'm going to duplicate it again and move it to the side. Something that I want to point out for Cricut Design Space patterns is that they do turn out to be seamless when you pair them with each other, as you'll see when I duplicate this group of patterns. When I line it up at the bottom, all of my dachshunds will make this pattern look very seamless, which is the goal. Oh, I'm a little off there. So I'm gonna use my space bar, just go up a little bit. And I think we're all set here. When I highlight this, it should give me a 4x6 postcard. So now I'm just gonna attach this image. So now everything is moving as one unit. So my dachshund background is done. Let's take this pattern, we're gonna duplicate it until again, we create the same kind of setup with our seamless look here. Oh, so here's the second pattern. And then I'm gonna duplicate it one more time because remember this is 6x4. You can see that little white space in between. And if you are struggling to see if things are connecting, you can change the background color. And now I can see there's a little gray there, which means it's not quite flush. A little bit more. Okay. And again, once I highlight this, it should be 6 inches, which is great. Duplicate the bottom group and line it all up. Okay, that looks pretty good. When I highlight, it should be 4x6. Oh, not quite, but that's all right. I'll just manually change that to be 4x6. Okay, then of course we're going to attach this so that it is one smooth background. All right, so the basis of our postcard is done. Now we need to create the address lines. So I'm going to go to shapes, grab a square, No need for rounded corners here. You can if you want, but I'm gonna keep it nice and traditional. So this is gonna be a white square. And this, we do not want to actually be up against the edge of our postcard. We want to leave a little bit of space. So I'm going to manually type in the dimensions of this address square, which is going to be 2.9 by 3.75. 3.75. Oh, that's wonky. All right, cool. Lock it back. And then I need to find out where the center is. You can tell by the guidelines that pop up that this is center horizontal and vertical. And I want this to be right up against that midline, right there. So now we've got our address block. We need our write-on lines. So I go and grab a score line, pull it over into my workspace. I'm going to make this 3. No, I think 2.5 works. Let me just rotate it. So I can go to edit. I want to rotate this 90 degrees so that it is a horizontal line. And I want to put this in the middle of my white address box. You can do that by holding down the shift key, clicking on the white box, and then aligning horizontal. Now this can't be a score line because I need it to show up, right? So this we're going to change to basic cut. And that is going to give me an actual line that will be visible on my square. I can duplicate this. And because I want this spacing to be exact, I'm actually going to use the position button over here. And because the position in the Y value is 3.383, which means it lines up on this ruler here, if I want to shift it down an inch, the Y value needs to become 4.383. From there, those are my boundary lines. I can duplicate the what is now a cut line again, and then I want to place this in the middle. But to ensure this is in the middle, I can click on all 3 lines, go to Align, Distribute Vertically, and now everything is set up and evenly spaced. So I'm going to go ahead and group this together. So again, it moves as one line. Now the difference between group and attach is when I attach an element together, my machine reads it as one whole image. So it will cut this entire square of dachshunds out. When I group things together, I can see it as the user as one entity, but the Cricut machine will still cut 3 individual lines. We'll take care of that a little bit later. We're not worried about that right now. Okay, so we got our write-on lines. We're good. I think that's a little close to the bottom, so I'm going to move these up just a little bit so that's not, sitting at the very bottom of my postcard. And then of course, it's not a postcard unless you got a stamp. Again, we go over to images in Design Space, and I want to type Valentine's stamp. You are going to replace this stamp with an actual stamp to put it in the mail. But for now, I just want something that is simple and says, hey, a stamp goes here. So we can keep it kind of plain. I really wanted to be cute and add these elements of like Happy Valentine's Day. But again, the post office really does use symbols like this, and I don't want any issues. So I'm just going to go with a basic stamp that is, low stakes. You can really choose whichever option you want. I'm going to go with, I like the one that said 14 on it. Did I miss it? Oh, right here. That's a little bit much though, huh? How about something plain like this? I think that's cute. So we want to downsize this because it's only going to go right in the corner. So I'm going to make this less than an inch tall. I'm going to make it about 0.95. And now that I'm looking at it, it looks a little bit bulky. I kind of want something like this made for love that's really simple. So maybe I'll try something else. And oh, I like this one. I like the 14. Yeah, that's cute. Okay, so we're going to get rid of that one. Sorry to switch it up on y'all. And I'm going to change this height to 0.95 and put her over here. And then I'm just going to adjust the colors a little bit so it goes a little bit better with my dachshund background. We can keep the pink. I think I'm going to make this inside white and then change one of these sets of hearts to that like light blue that's in there. And to me, that looks a little bit more cohesive, right? So I like that. Okay, and now we just need to personalize our postcard and we're done. So let me grab text. I am using a font called Handmade. Again, it is in the description box below if you're interested in seeing that. And the phrase that I'm gonna say is hoping your day is wienerful, because puns always win. How do you spell wiener? Wienerful. Yeah, hoping your day is wienerful. Exclamation point. Okay, I'm pretty sure that's, well, wienerful isn't really a word, so it makes sense that it's, you know, squiggly line red saying, hey, this isn't real, but I'm gonna use it anyway. And then I'm just gonna manually size it so that it fits on my postcard. I try to keep the main text somewhere in the middle. That way I can add a name and add the Happy Valentine's at the bottom. So let's do that. I'm gonna grab text again and I'm gonna type Happy Galentine's Day. So I can send that to a friend. Happy Galentine's Day. Again, I'm just gonna manually size this. I see that my text before is about 1 inch wide, so I'm gonna do that same thing here. Oh, that's still a little bit big, so let's downsize a little more. And we can put this right here. Let's downsize the font to 30. Yeah, maybe 31, 32, 33. Let's go at 33. It's a little tight though. Yeah, 31 works. Okay, Happy Galentine's Day. I don't want my word, well, I'm gonna put a background on it anyway, so it doesn't actually matter that it's covering up the dachshunds. So I'll leave this in line. I'll leave that one here. And I'm going to add an extra line here so that I can take up a little more space. There we go. Because I want, you know, this is a message, so I want them to be able to see it clearly. Okay, so I'm using my guides. Everything looks aligned. And now I just need to add a name. So who am I going to send this to? I think I'm going to send this to my girl, Brenda. So I'll just put her name up here. And then lastly, we need to create an offset so that the words are a little bit easier to see. I do want her name to be the biggest thing, because what's the point in making stuff custom if the name's not going to stick out, you know? And I can still use the distribute vertically to make sure everything is in line. There we go. And then I need a offset for this. So I go back over to my edit button, I click on offset, and I think 0.05 should be strong enough. You should see an outline pop up. You can use the slider tool to get the outline to show, but I like 0.05. It's just enough to like see the words, but not enough to really cause a distraction. So when I click apply, you'll see the background pop up, and I want that color to be white so that you can see things more clearly. From here, it looks like I'm finished. I'm gonna slide everything down a little bit though, because I feel like her name is just a little close to the top. So there you go. You'll see that my white address box and my message box are about the same size, and that's what I was going for. So I'll just slide it down a little bit, and it looks like we're finished. So from here, in order for this to print as one entity, you're going to highlight this and flatten it. But before I do that, I want to make a second postcard, and the way that I can do that super seamlessly is by grabbing the elements that I need to keep. So this would be my 3 lines, my address box. I can get a new stamp, so I'm not really worried about that. And then I can type all the other text. So I'm just going to duplicate this portion here, slide it down. Again, use your guidelines to show you where the middle is. And then I'm just going to move it a little till it feels good. You can see where the guidelines pop up, so I'm just going to make it so that it's all the same. And I do want those hearts on the edge to be exactly as you see them, because I think it just adds a little extra touch here, like these hearts on the edge. All right, so now I need a new stamp. I go back to images. I can look for Valentine's stamp. The rose is kind of sticking out to me. I don't know what happened there, but let's go back to stamp. Probably could have chose both of them at the same time to be efficient, but here we are. I think we had enough hearts. I saw a rose that looked cute. Yeah, I feel like a rose is in line with what we're working with for Valentine's Day. So I'm gonna move this to 0.95, update the dimensions to 0.95. Bring it over here. And set it in the corner. Again, I don't want it to be flush up next to the white box. I want to leave some space because again, it's going to get covered with the stamp. My stamps are about 1 inch thick. So as long as this stamp area is less than 1 inch, it should cover a regular stamp. If you want this for a keepsake and you don't plan on sending it in the mail, you can leave it as is or adjust the dimensions. But because I'm sending these in the mail, I need to be able to cover them up, but I want them to be cute when they come out of the printer. So I don't think there's a ton of colors I need to change on here. I do want to make this background white, I think, just to make it pop a little more. We're going to see what it looks like. I think I like that. But I don't want it to be this red color. It seems a little off to me. So maybe we'll do the pink and then do a pink rose. That doesn't pop as much. I'll keep the red. Okay, cool. So now I just need more verbiage. So I'm going to go back over to my text. And for this one, I'm going to say, checked you out and fell for you. Get it? Checkerboard. I checked you out because puns always win. Checked you out and fell for you. And then underneath, we'll say Happy Valentine's Day. I can just copy that from above. Downsize this manually so that it fits. Using my guides again to make sure everything is lined up. I'm going to duplicate this and type Happy Valentine's Day. Slide me down. Oh, I didn't spell Valentine correctly. And I'm missing a apostrophe. All right, and then I think above we chose 30. If not, we're going with 30 this time. And I'll just slide this down. Again, we want it in line. So I see my magenta pieces popping up. So we're good there. This looks a little high now. So I want the pun to stick out a little more. And fell for you. I like that better. The layout works better when the text is like stacked into those 3 lines. I have found that the 3 lines works best. But if you want to, it's customizable, so you can say your own message. But of course, if you want to follow exactly what I have here, be my guest. And this one is going to go to Carisha. That's my other BFF's name. And I like the names to stick out, so it looks like we're in a good spot. I can click on all of the text here. Ooh, there we go. And then I want to not only align it centered, but I also want to distribute it so that it's even, right? And then we go to our offset. We like to use 0.05 inches. I click apply. And I'd like the background to be, you could make the background any color you want, but it doesn't, white backgrounds stick out the most to me because the text is black, so the contrast is high, so you can see it a little bit better. And from here, you're gonna flatten these images so that they're ready to print and cut. So I highlight all of my elements. I click flatten. I highlight all of these elements up here. Try that again, make sure I got Brenda's name. Flatten. And that is all she wrote. With these 4x6 postcards, I print them on photo paper. You can check the link in my description box for access to the Pen and Gear 4x6 photo glossy sheets. And here's how I would print them out. I would click make it. Oh, I'm sorry, I said 4x6. I meant 8.5 by 11. So when you purchase your photo glossy paper, one side comes glossy and one side comes matte. Oh, you can see I forgot to attach the names here. So I'll go to this next page and just hide this name so you guys can get what I'm saying. Okay, so because this is an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, I would print on the matte side of this paper, have my Cricut machine cut out the squares for me, and then I would feed each 4x6 sheet manually into my printer so that I could print a photo on the photo glossy side. So there are more steps once you're done designing. From here, you would click continue, set your machine up. Again, you're going to print and cut this. You're going to send this to the printer like so, and then have your Cricut machine cut the 4x6 postcards out. Once the cards are out, you will have 2 individuals, and then you can slide them manually into your printer on the other side so that the photos print properly on the glossy side. And that is how you make your very own DIY Valentine's Day / Galentine's Day 4x6 postcards. I hope you learned something in this video. If you liked the tutorial, please leave me a comment, subscribe to my channel, and I will see y'all next time on another episode of Make Me Monday. Thank you guys and have a great day. Bye.